Greetings, everyone, on the SciFiction awesomeness. My name is Owen C. Cotter. Today, we have an amazing special guest coming to join us here shortly in the broadcast. You may know him. His name is Todd McFarlane. Before we get the show started, real quick, and get kind of kicked in, I want to let everybody pour in the room. We have a book we'd like to announce out that we shout out. This broadcast is brought to you by All I Need to Know About Success I Learned from Star Trek by Glenn Henderson. Amazing book. Highly recommend checking it out. If you want to go to his website to check that book out, it is glenntrekbook.com. That is glenntrekbook.com. And that is the book site for the actual you can get the book there. It's an amazing book. It's an inspirational book. I highly recommend it. We're going to let everybody pour in here. We're going to be bringing Todd on here within the next few minutes. If you have any questions for Todd, please feel free to ask on any of the channels. We're simulcasting on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and X. So if you have any questions for Todd, we'll bring the chat up and feel free to ask any questions you have for him in this broadcast. If you're not familiar with Todd, you'll get to know him in this broadcast. So he's going to be telling you a lot of goodies. My name is Owen C. Cotter. Welcome, everyone. Everyone's doing good, having a beautiful day. We're coming up on the weekend here soon. It's been raining here a little bit, but it's all calmed down now. So we're ready to rock and roll. So I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. We will be coming to you in the next few weeks in July from San Diego Comic-Con. And after that, we'll kick it on over to Las Vegas to STLV 58 year mission, Star Trek theme event in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. So look forward to seeing you there, whoever's there. If you have any projects you'd like us to cover, feel free to hit us up on our Facebook. And our Facebook is at SciFiction COM. If you just go to the Facebook search and type in SciFiction, it pops right up with the gold and the blue letters, like right behind me on the platform. If you like anything science fiction related, feel free to go to our website at SciFiction.com. We also have Twitter and TikTok at SciFiction. Our YouTube is at SciFiction Official. So check that out as well. That's basically all the gist of all the SciFiction goodies. We will be coming to you from San Diego Comic-Con for people just joining us in July, and then we'll be coming to you at STLV 58 year mission afterwards. Amazing. We also have our storefront now up on the site. I'll briefly plug that real quick here while waiting on Todd. This is the site here. We have the new shop section. If you like high-end Star Wars replicas, we have some themed styled replicas in the style of the different sabers, including one called it's one of my personal favorites here, is the Prismatic Sentinel E33 NeoPixel. We're going to be adding a lot more content, a lot more merchandise in this section, so stay tuned for that. Tumblr 20 ounce, got t-shirts, we got everything. But basically, that's the gist. We also got some articles here. We post a lot of content, as you know, for people following the page. Video content, audio content, you name it. It's all on there, so check it out. We'll be bringing Todd on here shortly. If you want to ask him any questions, feel free to ask him. He will be joining this broadcast any minute now, with the next 3 or 4 minutes. My name is Owen Cotter. You're watching SciFiction. How's everybody's weekend going? We got the comment section going on here. We'll put Todd's title here. There it is. Boom. There it is. I'm Owen C. Cotter. That's my title there. It's working good. Chat's ready. We got it already ready. Never miss a comment. So always comment on these broadcasts. We got some great guests, if you can, that is. We got some great guests coming on today, especially Todd McFarlane. So if you're going to be joining us in the broadcast, feel free to like, comment, share this broadcast. Please share it. It's amazing. When you share these broadcasts, it not only gets more traffic, but more people get the opportunity to enjoy the broadcast as well. So that's all good stuff. We've got a lot of stuff going on. Beyond Comic-Con, we're working on some other technology projects. We're going to be debuting a lot of good treats this year. I think you'll enjoy it. Of course, more with the site, building out the platform more. We're going to have an anime section for anime and manga. And I'll have all kind of, as you notice, there's been more anime content being put on the site now. We've got a few new writers we'd like to we brought on board recently, rather, that we're going to be pumping out more anime content, as well as video game content. We've got a lot of video game content. We've been building that out over this last year. Of course, sci-fi, television, movies, and beyond. About 3 minutes or so here, Todd will be joining us. For people just joining in, my name's Owen C. Cotter. You're watching SciFiction on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and X. And we're simulcasting on all channels. Todd McFarlane, creator of Spawn, worked on Spider-Man, creator of McFarlane Toys, co-founder of Image Comics, will be joining us here shortly in the broadcast. And if you have any questions for Todd, please feel free to ask in the broadcast. We have a few questions from some fans that emailed me. I know they want to ask some, so we've got those ready to rock and roll as well here in the palm of my hand. So I've got a lot myself. Todd McFarlane is for people that may or may not know, is in my opinion one of the greatest inspirational indie and entrepreneurial comic book, and just a man of all, jack of all trades. He's in a lot of things. I'm gonna let him tell his story, and it's gonna be good. I think this will be a good broadcast. And a lot of the comic book fans out there, if you're chiming in and watching this broadcast, we're getting some followers chiming in here. We got several more people just joined us. I don't know which networks you're on, but whatever network you're on, feel free to comment. It all comes here on the bridge of the Starship SciFiction. So we've got all the prompts here, so we can feature your comment on the broadcast as well, which we will when you comment. So we got that going on. People joining us, my name is Owen C. Cotter. How's everybody's day going? Got the chat overlay. There it is. SciFiction goodness. Let's go back to the site real quick. I wanted to show y'all something. So right here, in between comics and podcasts, right in between that will be the anime section. Of course, you've got the games. We've got the retro gaming, portable, console, indie. We used to have this as homebrew. It's now called indie, which more appropriately goes with indie games. Comics, television, movies, sci-fi, fantasy, superhero, cyberpunk, steampunk, dieselpunk, and just other. And we've got our event section. We're building that out as well, even more and more and more. There's all the goodies. So we're getting that. I was surprised that they had the new Archon season 2 teaser. They had the article done quick, so I posted that on there the other day. So got that ready for everybody to rock and roll as well. It's a good show. It looks pretty cool. For people that have not seen Arcane rather, season 1, it's a Netflix anime. It looks great. Highly recommend checking it. Oh, I don't know what your opinion is of the new Alien Romulus, but it looks pretty darn neat. It's more of a modern take on the original Alien franchise, but it looks cool to me. I mean, it's got kind of an homage to the old original Alien from 1970s with Sigourney Weaver and a little bit of the aliens. You've got the tracker sound where they're tracking the alien in the ship. This time, I believe the movie takes place on an alien spaceship. So that's going to be that right there. So to check that out. I just recently went and watched the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes movie. That was absolutely amazing. I highly recommend watching that. It's a really good film. It's got a lot of good treats in there. There's actually a lot of interesting stuff in that film, and the ending's amazing. I highly recommend watching that. I don't know. They may make another one. I have a hint they may make one. I don't know what the plot of the next one will be. Maybe space. Maybe I don't know. Because, they had like the old ones where the apes came to Earth in the spaceship. You had Charlton Heston to the Planet of the Apes in the first one. And then, of course, you had like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes, everything, comic books, figurines, you name it. Planet of the Apes goodness, it's all over. But that new Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was a really good film. I highly recommend seeing that. So we're waiting on Todd here, who should be joining us here any second on the broadcast. Really looking forward to talking with him. For people that want to join in on the broadcast, feel free to comment and chat and ask Todd questions, whatever questions you feel free to ask. As long as they're family friendly and good and wholesome as much as possible, we will ask them to him. Remember, be creative. The questions, this is a good opportunity for you to ask Todd questions, who will be joining us here shortly. There I am. Hope everybody's having a good day. My name is Owen C. Cotter. You're watching SciFiction. We've got the big Jumbotron behind us with the SciFiction site on there. It's streaming. It's mirrored rather onto the platform. We've got all kind of goodies here for you. Let's check here. We had some comments here. A few things going on here. What's this? There you go. So you got a few things here. Let's see, just one little thing here. So I want to message somebody. Somebody had already called me up. Who is this? We got Frank on the line. He's, I believe, in the live stream somewhere in the room there. We got a few other people chiming in as well. So we got more people pouring in. Everybody get ready. We're going to be talking with Todd McFarlane. He'll be joining us here any second. So gear up, full throttle, like Beggars Canyon back home, Star Wars reference. We're going in. We're gonna have a good time. So it'll be a good broadcast. I think everybody, if you're an indie creator or a comic creator and you do artwork or sci-fi or anything really cool in the comic ecosphere, please, this is a great opportunity to ask Todd. He's been there. He knows all of it. He's done it for years, so he knows his crafting very well, if I might say. So please feel free to ask him questions. Also, if you, in my opinion, if you like to ask questions pertaining to just general business questions, how do you get created? And whether it's comics or you're doing, a lot of people do, like I know, like customized toys and collectibles and just anything and everything. I'm sure he's got advice and information on that as well. Stay tuned. Todd McFarlane's coming up here in just a second, folks. So stay tuned. All right, I think we've got Todd on the line here. Todd, can you see me?
No, but you look handsome anyway.
How's it going, sir? How's your day going, sir?
Good. How you been?
Doing pretty good. We were just chiming in here, getting all the fans riled up and ready for you on the broadcast.
Sure.
Yes, indeed. You've done a lot of stuff. I was watching. As a matter of fact, last year at Comic-Con, we were down there. My good friend Mark Secree, I think, said he was signing next to your booth.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he had all the Space Command goodness. He's got a space opera series that he's working on down there at the. I think he's still filming more of them now. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So you've done a lot of stuff over the years, a whole laundry list of amazing things. You've co-founded Image Comics. You created the iconic character of Spawn. You worked on Spider-Man at Marvel. You've done just amazing. And of course, McFarlane Toys. What was, first, let's go back a little bit earlier in time. What was your inspiration for just, how did you gateway into comics in general?
I was a late bloomer. So I didn't start collecting probably until I was about 16 years old.
Okay.
But I had a buddy whose dad distributed magazines to grocery stores and the newsstand and stuff. Okay. And he always brought comic books home to his buddy, or his son, excuse me, who was my buddy. And so when I'd go over to his house, he'd always have a stack of comic books. And then he said, hey, if you want some, my dad can bring some extra ones. Mm-hmm. And then eventually he got tired of comic books, and I kept sort of taking some of the stuff from his dad, but then I started hoarding and collecting my own, right? So, nice. But the hook in the comic books to begin with was me just going out and arbitrarily, don't know why, one day at that point in advanced stage, picking up 4 or 5 comic books off the newsstand, right? Mm-hmm. So, and from there, I just was like, wow, super cool. And I went back the very next day to the corner store and picked up some more. So, and I think it was, that first day was Doctor Strange 23, Amazing Spider-Man 167, Fantastic Four, I think 240, and then Avengers like 253. It was like the Ant-Man
right.
Attack. Right. So I was getting George Perez and Selma Hulk and Ross Andrew, and I think maybe I'd even picked up Marvel 2-in-1. That was the Thing and a guest star. Yeah. So I got smitten on that day and never looked back.
So you remember all this like a digital memory. That's amazing.
No. Because the thing is, those first comic books, like your first kiss, right?
It's like going to see Star Wars or something for the first time or something.
Yeah. So if you told me what did I buy 3 months later, I don't know.
Right.
What did I buy 3 months ago? I don't know, right? But
Right.
you remember the first 5 because that was the thunderbolt, right?
Right. For sure. We have a couple questions here. One of our Frank wants to know. He asks. He has 2 questions. He says, "Do you have it?" He wants to know. Several people want to know. Do you have any personal updates on the new Spawn movie? If there's going to be one, or any information, any hints, or anything? And we have a follow up after that.
Yeah. So I've read half the script. I mean, the script's done. They're just going
Oh,
back and Hold on. I got to turn my phone off. Come on, Todd.
it's all good.
Man, come on, Todd. So the so I've read half the script. Scott Silver, the writer on the Joker 1 and 2, is just finishing up that polish on it. He was working on it with Malcolm Spellman and Matt Mixon on it. So we're hoping to get this thing done soon. As a matter of fact, I got a call with Scott tomorrow.
Nice.
And our goal is to finish it up this summer and go and try and sell it before Joker movie comes out.
That's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to that. Frank wants to ask. He asked a very powerful question at that, and this is his words. I believe it as well. He says, "You are the biggest inspirational indie writer artist of all time. What advice do you have to other indie writers and artists in general?"
Bob, this is easy. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. What do you talk about? Like I didn't climb to where I got to necessarily because I was more talented than anybody else or any of that. I've got some talent, but there's plenty of people who got way more than I do. But I think one of the things that has added to the recipe is that I'm just tenacious. I mean, I got 350 issues of Spawn, right?
That's amazing.
I try to at Image as the president of Image. I try to extract 10 issues out of some of the creative people.
Right.
So it's like I don't know. And then pretty soon, I mean, I'm in my 30s with King Spawn and Gunslinger and The Scorched, right? So in a year and a half from now, I'm going to have, 4 books that are going to be over 50 issues and counting, and I'll have added a couple more to it. So it's one of those ones that at some point you have to just commit and do something. 2, you have to have some level of quality so that the readers will come back and will support it. And then 3, and this is the piece that I don't think people give enough value for, but maybe because I've lived it, I understand the value. Longevity matters on a big scale, right? Because when I first went and bought those 5 comic books we were just talking about, the characters that resonated the most to me, even though I wasn't even a comic book collector at that point, were the ones that had been around in my mind. I'd heard the Hulk, I'd heard Spider-Man, I'd heard Batman, I'd heard the Flash, I'd heard Wonder Woman. There were these names that I'd heard of, and arguably so did my mom and dad, and they never bought a single comic book themselves. So attrition matters, right? It just matters, and I know because I have information in my head about the Kardashians. I've never read one article about them, right? But somehow
just absorb it.
I've absorbed it. So just coming back and going over and over and over and over and over, you build a brand, and the brand is now Spawn. Because I've been doing it for 30 years, I think I can argue that I can put them in there with the A-list characters.
For sure.
I can stand them next to the big boy. And the big value is that once you do get that longevity, then there's no one issue, there's no one story or drawing or anything that defines the character and or the reason why a fan likes it. Right? You either like Batman or you don't, right? And
I love Batman.
and if next issue comes out and it's not good, you're not going to stop liking Batman.
Right.
Why? Because that's what longevity gives you. It allows you to basically sort of, in using baseball terms, strike out or ground out every now and then. You don't have to hit a home run every time, right? And people will go, yeah, but overall the batting average is pretty high on that character. I like him. And so that's where Spawn's at now. Spawn is at a point where we try to do the best we can with every single issue, but it's just another building block in this long marathon that we've been doing. So
Right.
obviously people don't have to do 350 issues. That's 30 years of their life. But doing your own book and doing it for 20 issues, that's a start.
Yeah. It's amazing. Speaking of Batman, we have a Batman question on here. It's an interesting question.
Okay.
They ask if he had to write you a new Batman comic, what would your vision of the character be? Like your perspective of it.
If what now?
If you were to create your own comic book based on the Batman universe, what would your vision of that character be? Interesting question, right?
I guess it depends on how much freedom I'm being given.
Unlimited freedom.
Well, shit. I'd move him a little bit closer to what I do with Spawn. That he would get nastier, right? Like I've said this thing. The difference between Batman and Spawn is that Batman catches Joker, puts him in jail. The system can't hold him. He comes out. He kills. Batman captures him. He gives him to the system. System can't hold. He gets out. He kills. This has been going on 40, 50 times. So in my math, there's 50 dead people, right? Spawn, after about the fourth time, would just fucking kill him.
Pretty much.
The fifth time he catches him, he just goes, obviously the system can't hold him. Right. So he's just going to disappear. He's just going to disappear. And it's like, good. I just saved 35 people's lives. All right. You gotta sometimes break a few eggs to make an omelet. Now, again, that's not who some of those corporate characters are. And I get it. But I also don't get how he knows that guy's going to go out and kill, how he can go to sleep at night knowing that if he had just crossed the line a little bit, there might have been a child alive. I don't know. Anyway, but those are silly things that go through my mind.
Fascinating answer. I love that. They got there's another question here that they ask, and it is, let me see if I find it here. It's the documentary you had on the Sci-Fi Channel, which I actually previewed it the other day. Amazing film, by the way. Debuting your 300th issue in that documentary. This question is: you have said in the documentary your family and love of your wife is the inspiration behind Spawn.
Sure.
But this second part here, what is the driving force behind the way Spawn looks and his character in general? Like, I know he's in the military. Is there any like inspirations in that, or
No. I would argue I'm a pacifist, and I'm an atheist. So I don't even believe in heaven and hell. So that's a big thing too, right? Sometimes I think that people who are not near and dear to a certain subject or theme are best equipped to come at it from different angles because we don't think we're doing something that is insulting, right? So for me, I can bend a lot of rules on the heaven and hell theme because I don't go to bed thinking I'm being blasphemous because I don't have any of that guilt.
It's a really cool premise, though. If you think about the origins of Spawn, is very unique from most of the actual comic book characters in the Ecosphere.
Yeah, but again, I've also done a couple of things to it, which again is sort of basically doing a bit of a mirror in my life, which is I don't want to be sort of guided by big forces, whether that's corporations or government or religion or whatever. I just want to be taught, right? That's it. And as flawed as that life may be for me, I think most of us can go to bed sleeping pretty well if we just go, well, I got to do what I wanted to do. Again, as long as it doesn't harm anybody, what you're doing.
Of course, yeah.
So that's sort of the big, giant, overarching theme of Spawn. Now it's actually gotten even bigger. So now he's gone away from him wanting sort of personal freedom to wanting to basically keep that for Earth, right?
Right.
And so his goal is like, I don't want heaven or hell
Mhm.
interfering in our day-to-day actions. You want to give us sort of true free will, then be gone, both of you, right?
Right.
That's the freest will you can give us. Let us just be flawed human beings and succeed and fail at our own rates instead of having temptation
Right.
and being nudged around us. So that's sort of the big sort of driving force of what he's doing here. He treats heaven and hell exactly the same. And I have this thing where the way that it works is the first human being to die went to hell. The second human being who died went to heaven.
Mhm.
Hell, heaven, hell, heaven, hell. It's literally,
Consistent, right?
and it has nothing to do with how good you are.
Right.
And so that allows me the concept then of saying that Genghis Khan uh, and Kubla Khan could be on in heaven, and Mother Teresa could be in hell.
Mhm.
And the reason that matters is because someday you're going to get to the apocalypse.
Right.
If it was me, I'd rather have Genghis Khan on my side
Yeah.
than the Quilton Bee ladies, right?
True.
So, and so that's part of the whole reason why heaven and hell have to sort of put up with each other. Sometimes they trade prisoners, if you will.
Mhm.
In this
The
case, these
yeah,
souls.
for sure. The driving force behind McFarlane Toys. Did you collect toys, or like there's like a Bodice collectibles, or what was the creation of that? How did you go? I want to create a toy company to
I
that.
did. Actually, I didn't. I, I
Uh,
I didn't want. I didn't want to start help fund a comic company. I was hoping others would do it, and I could just buy them and
right.
go, oh man, you guys do all the heavy work. You guys do all the complicated stuff.
Right.
I'll just be the collector. I'll just be the geek.
Very cool.
But being a geek, then I just want, man, it'd be cool if we could do comic books like this. So we
Mm,
ended up starting Image, and then on the toy front, I was like,
mm.
I'm a geek, and I don't buy any of these toys because I don't think they're cool. So
Right.
I don't understand, and I've said it millions of times. I don't understand why toys can't look cooler. And so that was
They're kind of plain and drab a little bit back in the 80s and 90s, even some of the 70s ones too.
yeah, they were, yeah, and I would even argue that the few waves I did were pretty bland
Mm.
in retrospect. But at that time, they were a big
Cutting edge. Right.
step up, right? So I don't know. I just go, if I'm going to collect toys, they got to look cooler. If nobody's going to make them, I guess I'll make them, right?
Plus, you do like a variety of things. You do everything from sports toys, superheroes, DC, everything.
Yeah, music. We did music
Yep,
stuff,
music. Yep.
the movie Maniacs and stuff like that. Yeah.
What's your favorite aspect of being involved in that kind of creation process? So from working on comics, transitioning into toys, what is there anything different between those two that you enjoy with the toys and different, vice versa?
No, I think the joy in the creative part for me is having ideas and concepts in your head, right? We all have them.
Right.
And then working with a team of people, and then at times seeing the results either match what you had in
Mhm.
your head, or in times, which are the great days, exceed what you had in your head.
For sure.
And you just go, man, so we can do that, right? You have
Mhm.
these ideas, go, let's try this. What if we did this? What if we did this? I don't know if it's gonna work. Let's just try it. And then sometimes you get it back and you go, man, that looks cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so let's keep doing it. Let's keep doing it. And
Right.
you keep sort of look at here's why, for the most part, every creative person,
Mhm.
artistic person is neurotic, is because I think all of us have
Mhm.
this thing of we chase the elusive perfection, and
Right.
we will never attain it,
Right.
right? Although we don't ever tell ourselves that. Every day is the today when we wake up
Right.
is the day we're going to find the holy grail,
For
right?
sure.
So we just chase perfection every day, every day, every day, and every day. No matter how good we do something,
Mhm.
tomorrow we can always do it better, right?
For sure.
And then we eventually die, right? Which
Yeah.
is sort of the neuroses of us, because
Right.
we're never going to get perfection, and we have a million ideas spinning in our
Mhm.
head, and we know if we're lucky we'll get 100 of them out,
Right.
right? So we're going to go to our grave, arguably with our best ideas still locked in our brain, right?
Well,
So
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, out of all the TV shows and comics and movies, you can't read them all because you're going to be dead one day.
yeah, and you can go, I might have not watched the best stuff that I enjoy.
Right.
So, hey, can you give me just 30 seconds here? My computer is going to go dead, so I got to go get a charger.
Sure.
So just give me 30 seconds, and I'll be back.
Sure.
I'll be back. I'll put up a nice piece of artwork here.
Oh, nice.
Good look at it. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. I may hold the record for the most dropped Zoom calls by any human being, because I don't pay attention to my batteries enough.
Me either, man.
And sometimes it quits at like 11%. There's something random.
So. It goes into hibernation mode or something.
Yeah.
So you got all the goodness of all the pop culture. Pop culture, like when I was a kid, it was starting to kind of come up the ladder in popularity. But I'm sure when you were a little bit younger, over the last 40, 50 years, it becomes so widestream, mainstream. Everything's sci-fi, comic books, superheroes. What do you see, not just, comic book, but just like, for instance, comic book art is now considered almost like a fine art. People collect it. Especially the old stuff, and then some of your stuff's gone to auction. What do you see some of these creations, like, say, 30, 40 years from now or 50 years from now, somebody getting a Spawn art or a Cell or something like that, original sketch? What do you see, like, the longevity of the pop culture becoming more popular in the future, or like becoming, like, what do you see, like, the trajectory based on, like,
Well, so let's go back because you asked a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
So when I started collecting comic books, 16, 17,
right,
you were considered odd and weird. Right. And so again, it was like, Todd, what do you collect comic books? Like, what are you, mentally arrested? Right. I mean, but I just go, yeah, okay, fine. Why? What are you guys doing? Oh, we're going to Star Wars. We're going to go to Indiana Jones, and then maybe we're going to go to the James Bond movie where that car goes down the ski lift.
Right.
So I always thought it was weird that my friends could have their fantasy,
right,
because it was mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay to have their fantasy, but I had my fantasy, which was comic books. Mm-hmm. And it was like, oh, that's childish. And I think part of it too, because look at the vast majority of people don't collect comic books. Let's just stick with comic. And their definition of comic books is what they did, especially older people, what they did when they were kids. And it was like Superman and Archie comics.
Right.
They don't know how wide-ranging comic book stores are, like a Blockbuster. Right. When you went into Blockbuster, there were like hundreds and hundreds of different types of movies.
Right.
Same thing with comic books. They just don't know. But now that they made the movies, mm-hmm. which was to me really the moment, and you could argue that it kind of started with Batman in '88, mm-hmm. But especially since sort of the Marvel universe has come in and become its own thing, that now mainstream, like regular people who just go to movies are now, instead of going to action movies all the time, they're going right. to these superhero movies. And now because they go to them, it's mainstream. And if it's mainstream, then it's okay. So now fast forward, if you say you collect comic books, you're cool, right? Mm. Where before it was like, Todd, you're an idiot. Now you're kind of cool. And pop culture as a whole, it's not comic books or toys. It's just culture as a whole is getting bigger. And so because now fandom, geekdom, comic books, I think swims in the same pool with anime and mm-hmm. video games and TV shows like Game of Thrones and like all this stuff, right? Lord of the Rings,
Right.
Star Wars. I mean, you can put all this stuff now in the same pool of
Like a
geekdom.
big gumbo of all the goodness.
Yeah, which is basically San Diego Comic Con. Right?
Yes, yes.
I mean, they got the word comic in there, but it's pop culture con, right?
Right.
And that's it. So do I see that going away? Of course I don't. As a matter of fact, not only do I see it growing, like I think geekdom is like sports, right? There are billions of people globally that like sports. I think there are billions of people globally that like geeky stuff. And not only are they going to continue to like it, but like sports fans, you're gonna be a fan till you die, right? I never met anybody that was a Yankee fan from 8 to 55 and then said on his 56th birthday, I've had too many Yankee games. No, you're gonna go till you take your last breath. Geeks are gonna be the same, and then they're gonna do what sports fans do. They're gonna basically take their kids and they're gonna influence their kids by saying, I like the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
Your mom likes the Green Bay Packers. Everybody in the neighborhood likes the Green Bay Packers. You should probably like the Green Bay Packers, right? So again, they're going to influence people. It's not an accident that people who love Star Wars are buying Star Wars bibs for their kids and Star Wars toys and Star Wars that like, and then their kids
Buddha hats or whatever.
Yeah, and I look at. I've been around long enough now. Spawn's been around long enough now that if you were 15 when you bought your first issue, you're now 45, pushing 50. A bunch of them have had kids and have raised their kids. I'm now seeing on a steady basis the next generation coming into my line going, oh man, I think Spawn's cool because my dad showed it to me and or my uncle showed it to me and it was really cool and now they like it, so I like it. And so there's, again, going back to why longevity matters, right? All of a sudden it went from, there was a time where it was like those same kids were like, oh, that's my dad's stuff, that's fuddy-duddy, right? Who cares, right? But now they're getting older and they're like, oh man, now it's retro cool, right? Oh, so I can share something with somebody in the family and we can go to conventions together. Oh man, it's cool. Now it's past more than one generation. And so that's what time will do for you, because now if we get that Spawn movie out, I might be able to draw from all the Spawn people, all the comic book people, all the people who just in general like going to movies that are superhero, maybe a little bit of horror, and now a new generation of people who just go, man, who might not have gone 5, 6, 8, 10 years ago to Spawn, but they're now being nudged into it because of somebody older than them that know it. So who knows?
That sounds amazing. That's a better answer than I could give. I'll tell you that much, man. I was going to say, like, all the pop culture and all the things you've done, what's next on the horizon? What would you like to, is there beyond the movie? Like, what other kind of things you got doing on the pipeline? In the
yeah, you know what? I mean, the only itch that I still might want to scratch is I'd like to direct. I'd like to do some a full either a TV show and or a film, right? I mean, I've directed music videos and stuff like that, but nothing sort of multi-day, multi-month shooting, and then put it together and see how people react to it. But I as part of making, depending on how we make the deal for the Spawn movie, that might be part of the criteria of, like, I either got to direct the third part, or if we do spin-off characters, and I get to do the Gunslinger movie or something. I don't know. I'll figure out something.
That'd be awesome. Well, in wrapping up, is there any events you're going to be at coming up over the next month, or anything that you've got on the pipeline you'd like to shout out?
I think we're all sort of pushing towards San Diego right now.
We'll be there as well. Yeah.
That's next month, so we'll have our booth on the one side of the Image booth that we normally have. We're going to be showing and devoting about a third of that to the toy company.
Cool.
Showing some of the toys there, right? And now not only do I do Spawn toys and whatever else, but now we do and have been doing the DC multiverse, right?
Right, that's cool too.
Yeah, we just announced a partnership with Marvel, being able to do some with them,
Right.
and then we just signed a couple other deals that hopefully we'll be able to announce by then. So, yeah, we're always up to some kind of trouble, and then I've got a bunch of new comic books putting out that are a big variety of books, right? Everything from dark and gritty, so like Sam and Twitch stuff, to um, we've got the Spawn Kills Every Spawn, kind of goofy, fun little book for, and we've done a couple of those in the past. They've done really well, and then even doing stuff with like an actor, David Dashmalchian, who has been in big handful of movies. We're doing this book called Knights and Samurai, which is kind of cool.
What's that one about? Like a samurai, like Japan?
It's sort of like trying to take like everything about like the Dark Ages knights, and then take feudal Japan.
Oh, nice.
And then sort of butt them together, and instead of say, hey, they think they're the world power, they should be dominating, and the knights think that they should be dominating, right? I mean, think about like with Genghis Khan. Assume you got a Genghis Khan on each side who basically took over Mongolia and thought he was going to rule the world. And the two of them clash. First, just visually, I think it's a hell of a clash, right? Knights and samurai, looks cool. Some magic, there'll be some dragon stuff like that. But then in the midst of it, there's a faction of the knights that will run into a faction of the samurai. And this is literally the Hatfields and the McCoys. But they're going to find out that they've both been duped to the reasons that they hate these guys, and the reason these guys hate these guys may not actually be truthful. And so once those two groups collide and find out that they maybe have both been duped, the moment the word gets out that they're not now loyal to the big clan, they're going to be ostracized.
Oh.
So this group gets ostracized from the knights, and this group gets ostracized from the samurai. And now the Hatfields and the McCoys got to get together, because they're going to be the shit sandwich, and they're going to be getting it from both ends. And the only way they can survive is to basically somehow team up with your enemy, your mortal enemy, right? Or at least the people you thought were your mortal enemy.
Right, because they were duped. That's awesome, man. Well, I wanted to thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast, Todd. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you. Hope to see you maybe we'll run each other at Comic-Con. I'll be down there all weekend as well covering. So.
Yeah, and if not, we'll have those. I mean, obviously, only a small portion of people can make it to the show.
Right.
So, but you and others like you continue to do a great job of getting the news out to people around the globe. Literally, to basically, this is the piece that I think that we don't appreciate more or acknowledge the stuff that I think the media does, right? So because I think I've always said there's four parts. There's the creative, you got to make it, right? You got to have the stores that will sell it. So you got to have the retailers, and you have to have the customers to buy it. I mean, if any one of those three goes away, it gets a little bit tough.
Right.
But mixed in that, sometimes it's forgotten, is that the fan can't come and get it if they don't know it exists.
Right.
The way they know it exists a lot of times is because of the thing that you and so many others like you do, right? So you do a great service. And I think if one of those components slips dramatically, I think it hurts and injures all of us, right? So if there's no fans, we got nothing. If nobody's making anything, we don't got anything. But if people, don't know it even exists, they don't know to go get it. And once they get it, because they know about it, then they talk about it, and it just is a perpetual sort of circle that just keeps going around and around and around. So I try to do my part, right, and so I appreciate guys like you doing your part.
Thank you, Todd. I appreciate those kind words, sir. I really do. I want to thank you so much. You have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon, man.
All right, you be good.